It is 6 PM. I'll call the meeting to order at 6. First order of business is to approve the minutes from December 17th. Everybody had a chance to review those.
Yep.
Any changes, edits?
No, very detailed.
I got a motion.
Thank you, Elise.
Motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from Wednesday, December 17th.
Second,
Yes, I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, next up is the variance request for 67 Washington Street. Mr. Scanlon, you are up.
All right. For the record, my name is Jim Scanlon. I'm here on behalf of Martha Neiman at 67 Washington Street as part of a septic system upgrade. We are asking for a variety of variances, including setbacks to property lines. We did notify the two property owners that we are reducing the setbacks, or we're requesting to reduce the setbacks to. And what we have is the existing dwelling is a 3-bedroom dwelling at 67 Washington Street. The existing system comes out and runs to a septic tank right here and then goes to a leach pit right in there. We're proposing to replace it, a new septic tank, distribution box, and a leach field that is sized for the 150 for Groveland.
Yep.
It's regulations. The leaching field is a Presby system, so it does get a reduction, standard deduction in area. The 6 lines, we have a liner. Yes, sorry. We have a liner running around the majority of the system. What we're asking for as far as variances go, we had a perk rate of less than 2 minutes per inch, which requires 5-foot soil separation from the groundwater to the bottom of the system. With the Presby, the state allows a 2-foot reduction. We are asking for that, so we have providing a 3-foot separation to the groundwater. The requirement for setbacks between the soil absorption system and the cellar wall, the edge of the soil absorption system and the cellar wall required to be 20 feet. We are providing 7 feet at the closest point. And therefore, we have a line running the extent of the system between the cellar wall and the system to protect the cellar wall.
Does that, excuse me, Jim, does
Yeah.
that go all the way down to the footing of the foundation?
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is that 7 feet all the way from, or is that just the narrowest point?
The narrowest point, it's 7 feet from here, and then it gets to about 8.5 feet.
Okay,
Uh,
but it never gets out as far as 20 feet?
No, it does not.
All right.
We're asking for a variance between the septic tank and the cellar wall right here, required 10 feet, and we're providing a 5-foot separation, again, with the liner. We are 10 feet from, well, actually, there's no basement there, so.
Is this you have it ending halfway, is it gonna go all the way?
No, it would stop there.
Why is that?
Well, then the distance from here to here would be 10 feet.
Yeah, but you don't have the distance up here either.
We have the 10 feet.
It's 10 feet?
Yeah, it's 10 feet
I
from.
thought you
No,
said
no.
it's 20.
It's 10 feet from the septic tank to the cellar wall, 20 from the soil.
Well, yeah, the septic tank's a whole different animal.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the next variance is a 10-foot setback is required between the soil absorption system and the property line. We have it as 8 feet. I have it listed as 7 provided because we're actually 7 feet from the edge of the distribution box to the property line, which is right here. And then the last variance is from the septic tank to the rear property line, required to be 10 feet and we're 7 feet.
This isn't town water or is it a well?
This is town water. The water is right here.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And there is no solar line out there on Washington Street?
No, not that I'm aware of.
I don't know. I mean, honestly.
No, because I've done other ones on both sides of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The original pit that you have, was that within the 20 feet?
Prior?
Yeah,
Doesn't look like it.
No, that is probably, it's 10 feet. Let's see. Or, that would be about 18.
and there was no issues with that, where that was.
Well, I'm sure it was prior to the code.
Yeah, but you didn't run into issues when you had the pit versus the leach field there.
Right.
There was no issues with it getting like,
Getting in, no, and there shouldn't be with the liner running. The line is pretty thick.
and the abutters have been notified.
The abutters were notified.
Any feedback on that?
One of the butters is present.
Okay, all right, okay, all right.
Do you have any concerns?
Not really, I just wanted to see the design.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm representing 63 Washington Street. Just was checking out the distance of the system, and I was aware there was a system on that side.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing what the,
I mean,
Are you on town water? You don't have a well?
there is town water there.
So you're on town water as well as an abutter?
Yep.
the existing pit is approximately, no, I'd say it's about 4 to 5 feet from the property line.
Yeah, so it's really no difference.
Essentially the same, yeah.
Okay,
And as you can see, this is
Yeah.
a concentrated pit. The Presby system has it's a much larger area.
Right.
To reach into the ground, so it won't be as concentrated.
I asked what the reason for the upgrade was. Is there an issue with the pit or is it just?
I believe it
wanted-
was in failure.
Wasn't fair, okay.
And I believe the homeowners are, they don't have it sold by any means, but I think they're,
Planning, Yeah.
getting things lined up,
yeah,
for the future, so.
right.
and it did fail Title V as is.
It did, I believe Dan Briscoe did, I have a copy of it.
I mean, if he
Do you
did
have
it, then
any
he'd be
more
on
questions?
both, then, yeah.
Ask him. You do.
Is there a contractor lined up for the project?
I never know until,
Sure.
bids
Yeah, come in, yeah.
come in. Dan Briscoe, who does a lot of work in town, I don't know if
Yeah.
you're familiar with Dan. I think he mentioned he knew your sister.
He
or-
knows me.
Oh,
I work with him on the fire department.
Oh, okay, all right. I believe Dan is,
Okay.
I believe he did the inspection. He did got me involved.
Okay, cool.
I mean, based upon the letter from Joe Sawatka, the system is in failure. I mean, they're gonna have to do something anyway, so. And the pit is not gonna be the viable replacement, clearly. There is no town sewer, so I mean, I don't see an issue with this. If somebody wants to make a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve all the variances at 67 Washington Street.
The only thing that Joe recommended was the two affected property lines be staked in the file by professional land surveyor prior to the installation. It was the only
Okay,
other,
so I'll make a motion.
it should be provided. Given the limited lot size, I would recommend approval of the plan and listed variances. Proof of a recording of the deed notification of the Presby system should be provided prior to the issuance of the disposal works construction permit. And then the staking out of the property lines by a professional land surveyor. I think those are the only two conditions that we put on the project, so.
Okay, so I will make a motion to approve the variance at 67 Washington Street, pending proof of recording of the deed notification of the Presby system, and that the two affected property lines are staked by a professional land surveyor.
Second,
I'll second this all.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you,
too.
guys.
Yeah.
That's all you gotta do if you
Yeah.
have questions.
I think this will be better for all the neighbors. And,
What I
you know,
recognize,
it's
yeah.
gonna be failing, you know.
Sure, yeah. Thank you guys for meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Good night.
You too. Nice to meet you.
Be able to hear another variance request from Mr. Scanlon. Came in after we posted the agenda.
Yeah, we really can't vote on it because it wasn't on the agenda. What's the property?
It is 15 Dwinell
Okay.
Road.
How do you need it quick? I mean, we can put another meeting on the agenda. It's the end of March. We can probably put it on in the next week or two, couple of weeks anyway.
Okay, yeah, that would be great if you could. What it is it's a property that was purchased and it's 5 bedroom, you know, with a very rough system.
Yeah.
It was approved by Deb.
Which I have.
Oh, and we have that letter. It was approved and they basically just.
What year are we talking about?
The approval
Yeah.
was in
November of 25.
of 25.
All right.
This
Just
past
wanted,
November.
I wanted to understand that.
Sure. And the only difference is we submitted it knowing we were going to be looking for the variance eventually. The contractor was hoping to at least get the tanks in before the snow came.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't able to because the thought was at least with a septic tank and a pump chamber, it could be.
Functional to some point.
Yeah, and pump, well, it could be
Pumped.
pumped.
When needed, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, if there was a problem. The only difference from the approved plan by Deb and the plan that we just submitted was we're asking for a 1 foot reduction
Okay.
to groundwater.
I
So,
don't think that'll be a problem, but
yeah,
but we
Yeah.
could probably get something another meeting to approve the, you know, so that it's posted on the agenda
sure.
relatively quickly, I would think in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I have, as you know, a couple others that are
Yeah.
in the works, so.
Yeah, so if you,
Variance requests? No plans.
Actually, no, the one I just submitted doesn't.
Okay,
So
okay,
that-
so it would just be
that
15 right now.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, we're gonna talk about a regulation next and, you know, it'll require a public hearing, so we'll probably put that on at the same time and,
Perfect.
you know, and then we can do that do the variance request for you prior.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
All right.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
See you, Jim.
Good to see you. And I guess I assume they could still put the tanks in because we haven't approved.
Yeah, I would just talk with Deb, since she did the approval, that's fine. I mean, the variance request, I don't think will be any problem. I mean, you're talking about a 1 foot reduction, if that's the only thing.
Right.
I don't think it's a major deal, so,
Right.
yeah.
So if they did start having problems, the tanks could go because the tanks are the same on both plans, everything, you know, elevations. All
Yeah.
right,
Okay.
excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. See you around. Good to see you.
Sure.
3. No, thank you. I'm sorry, those weren't available.
That's all right.
Absolutely sent them
No,
to me.
no problem. So this agenda item was something that came up during the trash and recycling committee. These are private hauler regulations. There's a couple things in here that will need to be cleaned up a little bit, but I wanted to bring them to the board to discuss. Particularly the effective date on page 3 at the bottom. If we hold a public hearing, when the board felt these should go into effect. I think we discussed these briefly.
When do you want them to go?
You know, I would think probably July 1st probably makes sense.
Could it be something that's put on the town meeting?
These wouldn't have to go to town
They wouldn't
meeting.
have to go to town meeting. Okay.
They wouldn't, as a Board of Health regulation, we have the authority to promulgate reasonable public health regulation. This is a template from the Mass DEP that I basically just modified with Groveland information. The next thing would be on page 5 at the bottom, upon receipt of a complete permit application, the Board of Health shall have 30 days to rule on the granting of a permit. That's kind of standard language. We have 30 days to review any permit application. But I did highlight it in case the board wanted to reduce that or increase that, but standard language is 30 days.
And the reason being,
It just gives us enough time to review the permit without being overly onerous on an applicant, taking an exorbitant amount of time to review a permit, you know?
I think 30 days is a long time.
Well, it depends on what's in the pipeline. You know, if there's more permits or applications that you're reviewing, then it may take a little bit longer. We don't generally take 30 days,
Right.
but it could take up to 30 days. So that's why it's kind of standard, you know, even building permits, they give you 30 days to review it.
I know, that's why I'm sensitive.
So, and then the next couple of things were on page 6, each permitted hauler shall annually submit a renewal application for his or her permit no later than the first of the month. So I like when permits expire at the end of the year. So, but I wanted this to be a discussion amongst the board.
I like that too, very
So-
much so.
You know, I don't know
Makes it
how
easy.
permit renewals, they go out in the fall, Is that when they go out
For,
or anything?
it depends. So food establishments, pools, those run on the fiscal year.
Okay,
And then private haulers and installers run on the calendar year.
so does it make more sense to make them all standardized and make them run the same time frame every year? Would that be easier or is?
That would be harder because they would all become, right now it's staggered.
Yeah.
I mean, from an administrative standpoint.
Right.
They're kind of staggered, split between,
6 months?
yeah, where they're coming up usually around November. And then again, like early spring. So
Okay.
we're entering into that cycle now.
Yeah.
So,
So do you have a preference if this happens when these would go in? I mean, I don't know how many private haulers we have serving in town, but it's probably a handful anyway. I mean.
I don't have a preference as long as all of our permits aren't on the same cycle.
Would it make sense to be when the food permits come in because people with the
The dumpster,
dumpsters have, most of them are food establishments, they renew
I
when
mean,
you do both at
yeah.
the same time. I
um,
mean.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know,
Mhm.
instead of one of them getting lost in the mix.
when do those renewals go out?
For food establishments, I'm starting to send those out in the next month or so.
That's the fiscal year.
Yeah, so those expire June 30th.
Okay,
I'm sorry, excuse me.
yeah, can I borrow your pen for a second?
Of course.
Oh, there are more down.
Sorry, you want a black one, that's blue.
Doesn't matter.
Some people don't like to sign in blue. Sorry, Catholic school.
I mean, whatever you prefer, but I just figure if most of the dumpsters are owned by food establishments,
Yeah.
you roll it into one, you'd
Yeah.
have all the fees all
Yeah.
at once.
So these permits will be paid by the hauler themselves.
They're paid by the hauler, not the establishment.
Right.
Okay.
Those were the only. Oh. And then just for penalties. The language, first offense is a warning, second offense 100, third 200, and subsequent offenses not less than 300, but not more than 500. So that's pretty standard language. Usually 100, 200, 300. I mean, we can strike the not more than 500, but I don't know why DE put that.
Yeah, I
Not
mean-
less than 300, no more than 500, but does anybody have a?
I don't have a preference either way. I mean, some people need a harder slap on the wrist, so maybe leave it.
So leave it?
Yeah, you know.
Good with that. So what I'll do is I'll just make those changes. I'll send it to the town manager to send to the town council for review. And then once I get any feedback from them back, if you guys want to read them over and just let me know if you have any questions, concerns. I can incorporate that into the regulation I'll remove some of this note to user stuff that's in here. I just left it in there for the time being so that you guys could see what the meaning behind some stuff was. And then the other thing with this is that each hauler will have to provide mandatory recycling. That's the goal of this regulation, really.
Okay.
So I'll send it off to the town administrator, have town council look at it, and if we get the okay, then we'll have to hold a public hearing on them. And I'll have to send Elise you some advertising stuff that'll have to go out, and we'll have to post it in the paper and whatnot. So there's timelines around that too, so.
Giving notice.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, so.
Thanks for doing this, Dave.
So that was really what I wanted to go over with the board tonight. So if anybody has any questions, concerns, let me know.
After I read it, I will.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this. Tom.
Either if you want to look at it, at least can send them to you, print them off for you, one or the
I
other.
didn't get a copy.
So
That's all right.
I don't know where my brain is. Stop.
It's in your head still.
All right,
I can fit it in tomorrow, not a problem.
and the next item is public health nurse update.
Okay, hopefully we can do this. Today is the 6th anniversary of the COVID pandemic. Being back, seems like an eternity ago, it's been only 6 years. For us, all routine surveillance activities have been stable and up to date, covering the last 3 months. All of our case report forms are complete and have been submitted into the electronic record in Maven. The mass respiratory dashboard is winding down significantly. Out of 12% of all emergency room visits were respiratory related illnesses. The flu and COVID are markedly down and represent about a 50% reduction from 3 months ago when I reported to you. The vaccine rates remain dismal for COVID, 12.5 for flu, 38.2, and for RSV, 13% total in the adult population. And there you
I'm
will,
sorry,
go ahead.
Is that in Groveland?
No, that's in the
It's in
state. Yeah, state.
Thank you.
And you could probably, it probably works out pretty close. Yeah, and it's less. There is a virus going around just in case people say, well, I don't know, I didn't have that. I had something else that's even worse. It's the human metapneumonia virus that's very closely related to RSV. In that when you get it, it goes deeper into the chest with bronchitis and pneumonia pictures and it lasts longer. So a lot of people were complaining about having something that didn't stop coughing for 3 or 4 weeks and stuff. They don't routinely test for it.
Yeah.
They would in certain populations, again, if you have primary or secondary pulmonary disease, cardiac disease. That there's not a treatment for it. There's not anything special, but it's nice to know about it because the management in terms of the symptoms becomes a little more aggressive. So just a heads up for that. It is around, it's been around, I think I discovered it in 2001, it was identified. And it is very closely related to the RSV virus, which is a nasty little bugger. The measles, mumps are still very concerning, particularly down south and in high travel areas and on campuses.
Yep.
The rates are increased and I'm sure that's going to continue. The DPH just notified us that they added an additional syndrome to the surveillance list, the alpha-gal syndrome, which is acquired as another tick-borne illness involving what's called the Lone Star tick. Because of climate change, because of just general geographic and climate issues, the Lone Star tick is starting to move up to more suitable areas for it. So it is prominent in, what did I write it down here? Barnstable County, Berkshire County, Dukes County, and Nantucket. There have been pronounced cases down there. But if you're going to travel down there from Groveland, you should know about that. What do you do there? Again, there is no treatment for it. You should respond to avoidance of tick-borne illnesses in the same way you do the other things, proper clothing when you're out hiking, using the sprays, and doing a tick check after You go out into the woods and stuff like that. And we have little tick cards in the Board of Health office. If anybody's interested in that show the different ticks and what they look like. So the Lone Star is a little bit different than the deer tick, but it's now on the list that we'll be monitoring. So a clinical report went out to healthcare providers. So as part of a differential workup for tick-borne disease, it's added to that. We'll be looking for it aggressively, and it'll come back to the boards of health in their jurisdiction to investigate any incidences in town. This way, we can decipher whether it was a travel related or whether we're starting to see it up here over time. It's not going to be something that's very readily apparent. Fascinating thing. I completed a couple of Maven webinars for Maven updates as well as continuing ed. We're still, as I know of today, at least on my email, in a holding pattern on the newborn mother initiative, waiting on Pam to get back to us with respect to that. I think we've only had 7 births in town, so it's not piling up. I meet, you may or may not know, I meet regularly with the outreach coordinator at the Council on Aging, where we compare notes and exchange information on important clients that we have, and for follow-ups and trends in town, food insecurity, hoarding issues and things along those lines. We try to be proactive in all of these things. So we had a very good meeting the other day, and all is well. And unless there are any questions or information anybody needs, I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I do have one thing that I want to talk to the board about. So I was contacted by our fill-in public health agent. She is interested in the health agent's position. However, she does need some more hours. So I did reach out to the town administrator about how we can get more hours for that position.
This is Deb.
Deb,
Deb.
yeah.
Good.
And the town administrator sent me a proposal of how we can do that. And it affects you. So she said that we can do this by keeping the health agent's FY27 salary at 40, at the current rate, 4908, with no to increase it to 20 hours a week. So there'll be no COLA attached to next year's salary. Reduce the public health nurse to 10 hours a week with a 2% COLA. Reduce the expense line by $1,000, leaving it, is it $3,000 or $3,500? I thought.
3,500.
3,500. I'll have to clarify that. So it would be 2,500. Now, I wanted to ask you both if we thought 2,500 is going to be sufficient. I know we have the syringe disposal comes out of that. Any other normal activities that come out of that we would be cutting it close by shaving $1,000 out of that account?
I do know that when Rosemary was here, she had some seminars that she would attend. I don't think that those would really.
Yeah, with membership fees and.
Exactly. Those weren't, I don't think so. As of right now, I believe we've only spent about 500 of our budget, and that goes through the fiscal year, June 30th.
We should
Office supplies.
spend that money down.
What's that?
We should be looking at ways to spend that money down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you think we've only spent 500 this year?
Yes.
And we have 6 months left of the syringe disposal at what, 75
75 a
a
month,
month?
a quarter.
A quarter.
I think it only costs us 300 and something dollars.
Yeah, roughly.
It's only quarterly? I thought it was monthly.
No.
We have had a lot, I think the word is getting out with that program. We've had a lot of residents inquiring, more people bringing them in. It's possible that we would increase frequency. Again, with I think the additional GLP-1s.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot more need for that.
Does the fire department have a kiosk for disposal as well, or are we the only game in
We're,
town?
we're the only game in town. They have, the police do the medication.
Yeah,
Yes. Um, and I don't know where they go with their stuff. They probably go to Haverhill as well with, the ambulance. Hazardous waste, I would think.
do we know if any of the pharmacies take syringes? They're supposed to.
They used to, I mean,
I know they
Walgreens, on the old, going up Main Street, I think they do it for like their clients and stuff like that. You can't just walk in off the street with a bag of syringes and dump it in there.
Yeah, no, they'd have to be in a puncture-proof container and all of
Yeah.
that, but they're supposed to have a publicly accessible.
They do, but it's often full and,
Yeah,
and then they have a big sign on it. So I don't see it as it's an out of control problem. We had one quarter where we called them early to pick it up.
yeah,
And we did not have any problem with overflow, and screwing up the schedule beyond that. So, I think on a year-to-year basis, we can look at that. The last time they came, I don't think it was even filled to the top in the box. It'd be shaky good. You can usually put another 3 or 4 gallon drugs.
Right.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been overwhelming at all, but it is being used. So I consider it very successful.
yeah, I would too. I mean, I'm glad people are using it. But I think you're right, the GLP-1s, I think, are
Mhm.
exploding and people have more of them and they take up much more space.
Yeah.
In a,
Be changing too, because nobody's gonna pay for them anymore.
well.
That is true.
Too, or you can get them in a pill form too. so.
Well, that's a compounding pharmacy issue.
Yeah.
So you don't know what you're getting with that stuff over online stuff. So I do have very strong feelings about that, the legitimacy of that online stuff.
Well,
Um,
don't look at me, I'm not taking them.
yeah, I know a lot of jocks that are getting, peptides for injection over,
Yeah,
online, and you don't know what you're putting in there.
Right.
The vial doesn't even identify what's in it.
yeah,
But you can get your own insulin syringes and get the vials through Lilly.
yeah.
Which is an incredible savings, but you do your own injections and you have to draw it up, and
Right.
it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
It's easily taught. So people may transition that to those big like epi-sized pens.
Right.
That's where the cost goes.
Yeah.
These fancy syringes. So I think it'll be a drop off. It's a very popular thing right now, and not.
Yeah, well, especially once the insurance companies stop covering it,
Yeah, which Blue Cross and Blue Shield is
totally, yeah, all the insurance.
beginning of the year, they all just said, not for weight loss.
Yeah, we have.
Do you have these other things?
Yeah, we have the GIC in Salem for our health insurance, so
Ah.
we can pick a bunch of different insurance companies, but I think all the plans have said they're not gonna cover GLP-1s anymore,
Yeah.
so,
So I have a question.
yeah.
So we're gonna better meet the needs of the town by having our health agent have a few extra hours, but we have to cut our budget? Is that what you said?
Well, to cover the cost of the health agent, we'd have to. cut
I
the-
think that's outrageous. I think that's outrageous that we have to cut our budget to meet the needs of the town in the Board of Health area.
I agree with you, but to get somebody in the door, I mean, we're gonna be going on a year
Yeah, I know.
without a health agent. And I don't think we should continue down that path.
No.
So if we could get somebody with Deb's qualifications to come in and take the job and do the job at the level that I think she can do it. Now, this affects you because two of those hours would be going from you to Deb.
Correct.
And then and then the other thing she did tell me was that she would find the $2,000, the additional $2,000 it would cost to do this somewhere else in the budget.
Now,
So
what are we increasing the hours from?
17 to 20.
Because she can't. Because she won't take the job with less
Well,
than 20, or because she
She's going
can't
to be
do
leaving
the
a job that
job?
has more hours than what she's going to get when she comes here. So she's going to be losing out if she comes here. She's going to miss out on benefits, which at 20 hours, she'll
Yeah.
get benefits. So if she leaves.
I don't think it
let's say-
should affect anybody else, though.
I hear you, but this is the proposal that's put, and I'm
Yeah.
not saying this is something that I'm necessarily advocating for.
I mean, can she do the work in the 17 hours though?
It was done
And-
previously.
It was done, yeah.
And still get the benefits?
No,
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 she won't get benefits at 17 hours.
which is, I think is the point.
But I don't think this is something that we need to,
No.
well, we need to decide soon, I think, but I think that we should take it under advisement maybe and discuss this a little bit further.
Good.
So you only need 2 hours from the public nurse side of it.
Yeah.
I have been very vocal about my willingness to give to the cause since I've been here. It's been an issue that keeps coming up over time, that there's more hours needed there. My hours were increased as I took the job by town vote, by the last town meeting, to 12 hours because COVID was still an issue. They were still doing some kind of contact tracing or had an agreement for it. I can get the work done in 10 hours. There's no problem with that. However, I would caution in the future, if there's, when we sit, maybe we could sit down as a board and look at where we're going down the road. I watched the finance thing and, you approached it very reasonably. Why ask when you're gonna get your hand slapped for asking? But you have to, but maybe we could do it in a different way, in a structured proposal. Saying, we need to start going in this direction for the future. The restoration of those hours down the road in the absence of a pandemic or anticipating the next one, you're gonna have to put more hours in down the road to handle crises as they come up. Whether that's an intermittent adjustment or whether it's a permanent adjustment is something we can talk about.
This is what I've been trying to explain to them
Right.
every year since I've been
Right.
going to those meetings.
It's very depressing to go to
And-
those meetings.
That's why, as you saw this year, I told them that this is what the budget is.
Mhm.
The department was asked to present a budget, no increases in expenses, a 2% COLA.
Right.
And I was asked, well, is that enough? And I said, no, it's not enough. I said, but that's what we were told to do. So if we're told to do that, then what more are we going to do? They said, well, if other people are asking, I said, well, if other people are asking for more, then we should be given more. We shouldn't have to ask.
Right, right. Well, I have always had a very respectful and deep understanding of what the health agent does. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of traveling around. It's in and out of the building. And in her setting, it would also include septic design and that issue, which is a plus, a major plus. Also an unpleasant job, but somebody's got to do it. So between all of that, and then the demands that the state puts upon you to complete this and do this survey and do all of this sort of stuff, all the paperwork that's involved in all of it. 17 hours goes pretty fast. So,
I work 35 hours. I'm budgeted for 35 hours.
right,
I probably work 60 hours a week.
right. Nice.
So
In a city.
what I will say is I'm hesitant to cut hours from any position. And I've made the town finance committee, I've made the administrator well aware of this, that these positions need to be viewed as public safety positions.
Right,
All of the positions within the health department should be viewed on the same level as public safety because that's what we are.
Mhm.
And,
I agree with you.
I also understand the restraints of municipal budgeting. I get it.
Right, right.
So
Well, looking from my point of view, you say, well, what would happen if there was, a small crisis or a measles breakout in the town kind of thing? Looking at, again, for while it lasts, the American Valley Health Alliance thing, I mean, I could reach out for help,
right.
with mutual aid in the community to other public health nurses, and I would be very comfortable doing that. So for episodic uh, concentrated needs, I think I could draw in a little bit of backup if I needed it. But on a day-to-day basis, if I took my hours and said, could I live without two in order to get a health agent in here? To me, it's a non, it shouldn't even be asked.
Have you- The other way I would look at it, based upon.
Well, I'm lending it to her.
It's a realignment of hours
Yes.
within the department.
Service,
The
yeah,
one reduction is in the
budget.
the expense line item. And it would go into the health agent salary. So my understanding is the reduction would remain in the department. It wouldn't necessarily be that they're cutting it from us and taking it to put somewhere else. So,
Thank you for explaining that.
you know,
So that just gets us that we can make the offer, it might be acceptable to the individual. And then next budget, we look at restoring the baseline again.
Yes.
It gets built in, I mean, I see that being absent is a significant issue in the department because it's a big job. It's an important job.
Yes, it is.
And you need a good public face for that kind of thing. There's a lot of things that you have to take into account.
Plus, it's something that she's already doing someplace.
Yes, you can't put a dollar value on that experience.
Right.
You can't. Certifications are one thing, experience is another. And I value that a lot. I have worked with her in the past and been great. But I think, with Elise on board and Deb and having the local public health nurses that I'm in touch with, I think if I ran into a period of increased activity, I could probably easily adapt to that by just asking for a little help.
Let's hope you don't.
Yeah,
get into that.
try to keep it that way.
Yes.
Yeah. But even for the budget, I mean, the cost of things like just the printer, what's that printer stuff? I don't know what that's called. The stuff that makes it black.
Cartridges.
Yeah, cartridges. Secretarial skills were never my forte. All of that stuff is skyrocketing. It's just, I go to Staples, it used to be fun. Now it's like, I can't even afford a pack of big pens anymore. So, I think we have to keep that in mind, the costs of purchases, shipping, all that kind of stuff is increasing beyond what a COLA covers, so.
So the difference between the two salaries at 20 hours and 17 hours is just over $7,500 a year. I don't know what your hourly rate is, but at 2 hours a year,
I don't remember this. I think it's 45 or 46. I don't remember what it is. Something like that. She makes more than I do. But I'm not gonna.
that's $47.84 at $46 an hour plus the 1,000. So that comes out to 578, 57.84, another 2,000. So you'd be right there. So, yeah. So it's a realignment of funds within the department, except for the $2,000 that she said she would find somewhere else in the budget.
Cool.
So I guess, and I'm not asking for a vote on this, I just want the board to, how does the board and the staff feel about this? Because I would like to make a movement on this if we at all can.
Well, it sounds like,
I would support the accommodation of that position in any way I can. And if it means, transferring 2 hours of my work, I'll get the work done and it's not a problem for me. I really think it's doable and I think it's the most important position that should be filled.
And I think going into next year's budget season in December, we should probably sit down and discuss how best to advocate for, increasing not only the health agent position, but the public health nurse position. Because, I mean, at some point, we're gonna have to fill these positions again, and we
Right.
need to make them attractive to people.
Right.
And this is
Right,
the point I tried to make before the previous chair left.
right.
That, you're not gonna get somebody to come in here at 17 hours a week. You're just not.
Right.
It's unrealistic.
And 10 hours versus 12 hours without benefits it sometimes can just really ruin your week. It's just enough
Yeah,
to ruin your week. You
that's
can't
true.
go anywhere,
Right.
kind of thing. And it's a hard position to fill because of the paucity of the hours.
Yeah.
Without benefits. So, for me, it's not a problem. It's perfect. It works. I've integrated it into my life, so I'm very happy with it. But for somebody else, and to have a work day in the middle of a week or for a couple of hours for 3 days, it does mess things up,
Right.
So you may have to bring it up just a little bit more to make it valuable.
Well, the other thing, as you probably saw, I was asked what I felt I needed to make the job attractive to get a candidate in. And I said, at least 20 to 25 hours per week, at least. But the job should be full-time. And the math was done and it came out to 25 grand a year or something like that. And I said, listen, I understand. I'm in the midst of writing my own budget right now.
Mhm.
And I'm going to meet with my mayor tomorrow to advocate for a position that I need, a position that I currently have, but is being paid with grant funds that I can't lose.
Right.
A position that pays for itself, quite frankly, because the kid brings in so much revenue that it basically pays for itself.
Hmm.
To eliminate that would be foolish, in my opinion. So I get what the constraints are, but we have to start to figure out ways to make this more viable in the long term.
I have a question. I have long wondered why when we bring in a fee, we give it to somebody else. Is there any room in budget formulation or a change in practice?
I mean, I can certainly
House?
present that,
I
but
mean, we could up some rates modestly and keep the income in our general, like revolving account or something like that, or half of it
the
even,
town would.
could make a
The
difference.
town would have to be willing to let us create a revolving account. So we'd have to look at our fees, we'd have to evaluate them and say, what would be enough to, this is something that's come up before, and believe me, I've thought about this myself. Not
I
just
get
here,
migraines listening to it, so I change the channel.
Yeah.
About that stuff.
But I've thought about it in my full-time job, my day job. About increasing fees a percentage and saying, all right, you keep the original fee, but I get the percentage in a revolving account. And that, or you get it all, but that percentage is earmarked for my department to offset the cost of
Yeah.
the salaries. The problem, the argument I see you're gonna get in and on the other side is, well, it's going into the general fund because it has to pay for everybody's salaries, just not your salaries. And that's the argument you get on the other
Yeah,
side.
but we're bringing the money in by our fees. So
So-
keep your hands off.
But the building inspector or the building commissioner is gonna go and say, well, I wanna do that with my fees as well. And my fees bring in way more money than the Board of Health fees do.
And do we know that they don't already do that?
I'm pretty sure they don't.
They don't, okay.
But I can't say that,
I
I
mean,
can't say that for certain.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure they don't. But,
You don't ask, you don't get.
yeah, no, I hear you.
Ventured, nothing gained.
I hear you.
Behind all the fees is a person doing inspections, certifying, doing all that. Somebody's earning that money for our distinct
Absolutely.
area and
What is the
even a
cost
permit
of,
would be helpful.
is the fee commensurate to what it costs to process the permit or to process whatever the fee is for? Your time potentially, whoever the health agent's time is. I mean, all those hours have to be factored into the fee. For instance, when we increased the fee for the tobacco permit from 50 to 100, we had a vendor basically lose their mind. They thought it was unconscionable that we would raise the fee from 50 to 100. And it should have gone from 50 to 75. And she ripped Rebecca apart over it. Not Rebecca, I'm sorry, Rosemary apart over it. And Rosemary sent me the email and said, what do I do with it? I said, don't do anything with it. I'll respond to it. So I did. I responded to it and I said, you have to understand, this is not Rosemary's decision.
Mm.
This was a Board of Health decision. And if you'd like to discuss it, I'm happy to discuss it with you. But in my opinion, that permit should be $500, quite frankly. But I can't justify a $500 permit fee for that particular permit because the workload attached to it isn't commensurate.
Mhm.
I could have justified $200 though, because I think it is,
Wow.
you know?
Wow. Yeah, so I mean, maybe we just need to put all that on the table and look at it
But there
again
are
in a
things.
creative
For
way.
instance, like in this town, septic permits. What are we charging for a perk test?
160.
160. That, in my opinion, is easily a $200 permit, if not more, because of the amount of time that goes into it. And if we have to put it out to a vendor to do it, like right now it's Deb,
Mhm.
but if we had somebody in-house, but we had to put it out to somebody, that easily increases that permit fee because of the review period. You
Mhm.
bring it in, you have to process it.
Yep.
So if we're charging 160 and we increase it to 200, I don't know what that percentage is, you know, it's $40, but so it's $40. We take that $40, it goes into a revolving account to offset salaries.
Dave, the thing is, they're not allowing us to get any more money out of the town. Okay, so you won't allow us to get any more money out of the town budget. Why can't we get our own money out of raising our fees and having a revolving account?
Because-
How can they tell us that we can't
Because
help fund
you
our
gotta
people?
understand, every dollar that comes into the town is the town's money. It is.
Except for the conservation people and the council on aging as a revolving.
Yeah, the council on
What are
aging.
what are their revolving funds for?
Their work activities, programs, catering.
What do they bring in how did they create the fund? Like, what is it?
What's the situation?
Donations, they get donations.
Okay, so it's not town funds,
No, it's all coming in from the outside,
right?
you
So
know?
we would have to find a way to do that. What we're talking about is increasing the fund, our permit fees or any fees that we draw in by a percentage, taking that percentage and putting it into a revolving account.
Right,
We should.
And this is all, believe me, I've had
That's nuts.
conversations till I'm blue in the face about how do we sustain public health long-term? The PHE grant in particular, how do we sustain that going? And this is a conversation that the state is having with us about, can we look at a local state partnership where the state gives us some money, but the municipalities start to look at, all right, we're gonna look at our fee structure and we're gonna increase all our fees. We're gonna convince the municipalities to give us the percentage increase to sustain the PHE. And I personally, in Salem, they're talking about a new high school. We just went through that here, right? So when I say that, if I go to somebody and I say, what's more important to you, public health or a new high school?
Public health.
Not to the average Joe, it's gonna be the new high school. If I have to pay tax dollars, or my tax dollars are gonna go to something, it's gonna be to a new high school. You just know it, you know?
Excuse me, I'm having a day.
I'll be back.
One thing that was, Colin Schaefer, who performs our, food inspections.
Yeah.
He's seeing an unprecedented amount of re-inspections, these, food establishments,
Yeah.
where he's needing to go back and do these long.
A fee for reinspection.
Yeah, which in neighboring communities, I believe Amesbury, they have a re-inspection fee, so that's something.
I mean,
And
we
it
can
just
certainly-
takes time to go back. Well, it takes time to go back and.
So,
Yeah.
and to me, that's where that percentage of the permit fee, it's more work as part of the permit. It's
Mhm.
not just the processing of the permit, it's the inspection, the re-inspection.
Yes,
And if you're going back to do another re-inspection, it's all of that.
sure.
So we can certainly institute a re-inspection fee. I have no problem with that. The easier way to do that is to
Increase seal.
increase the overall fee
Mhm.
so that they're paying it up front.
Yeah.
And, then you don't have to chase them for a re-inspection. fee.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the re-inspection fees, some of these establishments are, they're not being compliant because they'll just have another reinspection and they'll be told to do it again and
Yeah.
they'll get another 30 days. And so if they are,
And the other thing too is a lot of those places use private inspectors, they hire contract inspectors. So the contractor, that fee goes straight to the contractor.
Yeah.
It doesn't go to the city of,
yeah,
so. But a reinspection fee is another possibility.
Yeah.
The question is, and this is always the problem, will the municipality let you open a revolving account and put that money into it?
sure.
And
Even if they don't, but we increase the fees because it takes time and it takes money and it takes effort to go and do it. Can't you just prove, well, it's not our account, it's still everybody's account. But we are bringing in this percentage more,
you certainly can. Here's my experience, and I've been doing this a long time. What they tell you is, you need that money, you need that money, you need that money, you need that money, I need that money. So if you bring it in, how do we divide up that money 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways? That's what they tell you.
Yeah,
And we can.
We don't get any money anymore.
We can all argue about how we feel like the money should come to us. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I'm not saying that it's right or it's wrong. I'm just playing devil's advocate because trust me, I am a fierce public health advocate. I believe that as an entity, we should get our permit fees. We should get any money that comes in that we bring in, we should get that. And we should be able to use it to promote and protect public health, pay for our inspectors and our staff, because that's where the money should go.
Yeah.
But you know what the building commissioner would say? I should get that too, because I bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in permit fees, not just,
Why does he need more money?
he needs more
We
inspectors.
can't get our employees to do our business.
They need more inspectors just like we do. They need more staff just like we
He's
do.
part-time. He's part.
But Jim, you have to understand. Exactly.
Your hands off our money. We're the board of health.
Exactly. But this is my point.
We got that many squeaky wheels in this town hall?
I don't know, but I'm gonna entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll like to make a motion to adjourn because Anita has a game to go watch.
Halftime in Yukon,
I
Syracuse.
second that.
All in favor?
I.
Aye, good meeting.